All right, let's dive into the quiet but really powerful impact of compliments on boys and men, and why just a few simple words can end up echoing for an entire lifetime.
So let's start with a scene you've probably been in before. You offer a really sincere compliment to a boy or a man in your life. You meant it, and you thought, hey, this will be nice. But the reaction you get, it's kind of small.
Yeah, you might just get a quiet thanks or maybe a little nod, and it can feel like the words just bounced right off, like they didn't really matter all that much. But what's actually happening under that calm surface is a whole different story. That lack of a big outward reaction, that's not a sign that it didn't have an impact. In fact, it's quite the opposite.
Okay, so let's dig into this contrast between what you see on the outside and what's really happening on the inside. This is where the story gets really interesting. And this, right here, this just lays it all out so perfectly. On the outside, you see someone who looks calm, maybe even indifferent, quiet. You might think he's already forgotten what you said. But inside, oh, those words are echoing. They're being replayed over and over. They're anchoring themselves and settling deep into his mind. So why? Why do these words land with so much weight? Well, it really just boils down to a simple principle. Scarcity makes things precious.
From a young age, a lot of boys are conditioned with these subtle and sometimes not so subtle rules. They're often taught to kind of push down their need for affirmation, to not look weak or needy. And what that does is it makes getting a genuine compliment a really rare event.
This chart just shows that gap so clearly. While girls might get compliments more often on a whole range of things, boys often face a real scarcity, especially when it comes to compliments about who they are as a person. Their character, their very being, not just for something they did.
Now, let's look at how this scarcity turns a simple compliment into this private ritual, a moment of reflection that you, the person who gave it, probably never even know is happening. Just, picture the scene. The day's over, the world's gone quiet, and all the usual distractions are finally put away. And right there in that stillness, that's when it happens. The memory of what you said just kind of surfaces all on its own. See, he doesn't just remember the words you said, he replays the entire moment. He's analyzing your tone, picturing your smile, remembering the exact timing of it, and feeling that sincerity all over again. In that private little replay, he feels truly seen, validated. So here's the really crucial point. Compliments about performance, they're great. But compliments about character, things like being reliable or emotionally strong or making others feel safe, those are the ones that really truly resonate. They tell him, hey, I value you for who you are, not just for what you can do. And these remembered compliments, they do so much more than just make him feel good for a minute. They serve this vital, long-term purpose. They actually build a unique kind of resilience. They become something we can call compliment armor. And this isn't some loud, boastful shield. No, it's a quiet, invisible strength that's built entirely from those past words of affirmation. Words you might have completely forgotten you even said. Think about what this armor actually does for him. It's the emotional fuel he runs on when his motivation is low and things are tough. It's his defense against that inner critic, that voice of self-doubt. It's a reminder that someone, somewhere, believes in him. And that's what gives him the confidence to get back up after he fails. And that just leads to this really important question, right? What kind of impact are our casual words really having? The words we say and then forget in an instant, well, they might just be the very armor someone else wears every single day. Because this impact isn't temporary. This isn't some sugar rush that just fades. No, these words create an echo, a resonance that can literally last a lifetime. I mean, just look at the life of a single sincere compliment. It doesn't fade away. Its meaning can actually get deeper over time. A week later, it's just a warm feeling. A month later, it might be the lifeline he replays during a really tough moment. And 10 years later, it's become a core memory. And listen, this isn't just a theory. If you ask almost any man about a compliment he remembers, you are very likely going to hear a super specific story about a teacher or a friend or a partner who said something that he has carried with him for decades. So the next time you hesitate to offer a kind word, just remember this. Your small, maybe even forgotten sentence, it won't just be heard. It might just become his lifelong armor, a quiet strength he carries with him long, long after you've moved on.
And that is a power absolutely worth using with intention.